who stays and who goes. There's a lot of key free agents. Let's go through them and predict which ones stay. Oh.
Yeah, let's go one by one. So I think a big one that a lot of people are talking about is Raheem Mostert, right? This is a guy that seems like he wants to be back with the team. Probably wouldn't cost a whole lot. And we did see, I mean, as good as Elijah Mitchell is, he doesn't have that explosion that either Breida or Raheem Mostert had. And that was missing. Now, Debo was able to bring it, but how many carries do we really want
Mitchell's
Debo
the hardest
have?
to tackle. I love how hard Mitchell is to tackle. It's crazy. Yeah, I like that.
Extremely good. Extremely good.
Debo toughness and balance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, I mean, they can bring in that explosiveness in the backfield with Mostert and not have to do it with Debo. So, question is first of all, let's answer it in two different ways for all these guys. One, would you bring him back? And two, do you think the team would? For me, I will answer Mostert.
Sure.
I personally would not bring him back. To me, these injury-prone guys, I don't care how cheap they are, they're eating up a roster spot. And the way that I see it is, if somebody eventually goes down and they need to step up and they're gone after a game or two, you wasted a roster spot that you could have spent on a kid or a veteran that you could have been grooming up until that point, and now you're pulling somebody off the street hoping that they're good. I don't want to be in that situation. So for me, I would let Mostert go. I think he actually comes back, though. I do.
I would bring Mostert back. I'd give him a non-guaranteed deal and bring him into camp and see what he has, because he does have the potential to be one of your best players. So I don't think it would cost you much. I think he's been hurt the last 2 years. You could probably give him whatever you want. $1 million non-guaranteed, bring him to camp. If he's not good, cut him. If he is good, there's your best player on offense, or he's one of yours. So I don't think he seems like low risk, high reward to me.
That's the way do you think they do bring him back?
I think they'll come back. Yeah, I think we'll see him in camp. I do. I don't think he's dying to leave either. This is where his career became a career.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to go anywhere. I think a few of these guys, that'll be the theme as we go through this. Laken Tomlinson. So obviously they drafted Aaron Banks.
Right.
We haven't seen anything from him. They're probably going to have to get, if Banks is going to be the right guard, hopefully, which means they can't move him to left guard because they're going to also have to get a right guard regardless. So I think
that Banks is going to be the right guard. I don't know about that.
Well, if anything, he's not going to be the left guard. I don't think.
No, I don't know if he's going to be anything.
Yeah. No. Yeah, he may or may not.
Yeah.
But let's say he's good enough to start. Even if he is, if you lose Laken, then you still have to replace the other guard position. Yeah. So the way that I see it is, I think he's one of the bigger priorities in this offseason. I think him and Trent Williams have built a good rapport, and I expect him to be back, and I would make sure that he is back on this team 100%.
I don't think they wanted to re-sign him. I think that's why they drafted Aaron Banks. I don't think they drafted Aaron Banks to start as a rookie, but I think they thought he could replace Tomlinson in a year, and I think that he really underwhelmed, and I don't think they're banking on Aaron Banks to replace anybody. Tomlinson's not going to be cheap. Again, I don't think they wanted to re-sign him, but I don't think they have a choice. That's one of their weaker positions on the team, and he's won their Bob McKittrick Award like 2-3 years in a row as their self-voted best offensive lineman, better than Trent. I don't know how he keeps winning that over Trent Williams, but he does. So, yeah, I think they probably will keep him. Not sure that they should. It's an expensive guard, but beggars can't be choosers on a bad offensive line, so I think they're bringing him back.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, let's move on to Jason Verret. Talk about injuries. For me, same thing I said about Mostert. I personally wouldn't do it, but I do think that he ends up back on this team. I think they really like Verret. I think Verret's going to be extremely cheap, and the 49ers just can't let go of some of these guys, man. They seem to want to bring all these guys back. They were able to do it last year. I feel like they're going to try to bring as many back as they can. Verret's not going to price him out of anything. He's not going to be forced to be a starter because Ambry was able to play well down the stretch. And they're looking at it saying, well, he's our third guy, and if somebody gets injured, then he can come in and play really good. So I think Verret will be back. I personally would not bring him back. I would look at somebody like who's the cat over in Denver that played for Chicago. Anyways, corner over there. He's around 30 years old. He's always been Fuller. Thank you. He's always been healthy. I would look to bring in a guy like that if I'm going to bring in a veteran, and I'm not opposed to bringing in a veteran. I personally wouldn't spend that money on Verret, but I think they will.
I think they will too, for the same reason I said I think they'll bring back Mostert. low risk, high reward. He's going to probably be $1 million non-guaranteed. If he doesn't have it, you don't have to keep him on the team. If he does, there's your shutdown corner. I would like them to make a bigger investment in cornerback. You mentioned free agency. I always like them to do it in draft, but they won't. They won't. They like Ambry. Right. They like Verret. That's what they're going to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, well, let's go to the other corner spot. Kaijuan Williams. He's been with this team for a long time. He showed some good things in the playoffs. I mean, he's the reason they got the interception against the Rams. He actually picked off Dak in the first round of the playoffs. But he also showed that he can be beat pretty bad out of that nickel corner spot. I personally would let him walk. I believe in Diamador Lenore. I do. I think I saw enough from him, and he's a youngster. I think fresh legs at a position like that is extremely important, and I think he might be more money than what he's worth. I wouldn't bring him back. I also don't think the 49ers would bring him back.
I don't think K1's coming back. I think they need a stud nickel. Not Diamador, a stud, because they got to go through the Rams for the foreseeable future. And Cooper Kupp, I mean, he's always been good, but now that they have Stafford, he's unreal. He's not as good as Debo, but he's really, 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 really good. And the Niners have to have someone who's in the ballpark in the same league as him. And K1 isn't, Diamador isn't. I don't know who is. They got to find that. I think they got to get a new nickel who can match up with the biggest threat in their division. I mean,
they'll probably start Verret and kick Mosley inside.
Fine. Whoever, they need to be able to, because they cannot cover Kupp at all. No. I don't know. I mean, they got to, they need to. Can't. They got torched by him in 3 games this year. Wasn't even close. So I would say no on K1.
Yeah, I don't think they're bringing him back either, and I wouldn't bring him back. All right, let's finish off the secondary before we move on to other spots. Tart. Huge play in the NFC Championship, blown, but that's not who he is as a player. He's a really good player. I think him and Ward obviously have chemistry playing together in high school. They're both a really good tandem back there, but he can't stay healthy. He showed that again a little bit this year, and I think that there are teams that are going to be willing to pay the guy. I really do. I don't think the 49ers are going to be able to afford him. I think they would probably like to bring him back, but they're looking at it and saying, okay, well, Moore's coming back. We've got Hufanga. Maybe we can bring in another free agent. Who knows? But I don't think Tart's coming back, and I'm personally okay with that.
I don't think he's coming back either. I think he should. I think he's way better than Hufanga, the replacement. But I think it's clear that the Niners were trying to make Hufanga a thing, trying to make that happen. He got hurt, but he was taking snaps from Tart down the stretch in must-win games. I think they're going to make him the starter next year. And I think Tart's going to go, and I think it's a mistake. Even though Tart's not great and that dropped interception was very costly, I still think he's a significantly better player than his replacement's going to be, and that's a problem. You shouldn't be make yourself worse at a starting spot for no reason, but I think he's gone.
You think Hufanga gets it, or do you think Tavarius Moore gets that starting spot?
Hufanga. I don't even know if Moore's going to be on this team next year.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. All right. We got 2 more positions, same position group, essentially, defensive line. Arden Key, Bay Area Ballers' favorite offseason acquisition. Arden Key played really good, but we also saw what they can do with all defensive linemen. We saw what happens when guys like Kerry Hyder leave. They do absolutely nothing. Here's my thought on Arden Key. I would love to have him back if he's extremely cheap, and I actually think he will be cheap. I think Arden Key is very aware of his situation. I felt like his press conference a couple weeks ago really shed some light into that, and I believe that he knows that he's in a really good spot that is going to make him look really good. It'll give him a second year of looking good, and he'll still be very, very young. He's going to do a 1-year deal and then try to break the bank next offseason. I think he's going to stay with the 49ers. I think he's going to do it on the cheap, and I would absolutely bring him back if you can.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would think they would want to bring him back. He became a really key member of their team the second half of the season, but they may not be able to afford him. That's the one thing. If they have to give Debo a big extension, Bosa a big extension, re-sign Tomlinson, I mean, they might not be able to afford Arden Key. What if some team gives Arden Key 3 years, $30 million? Maybe the Niners can't afford that. So I think they'd love to bring him back. And if Arden Key gives him a discount because he knows that he owes them and he may not be successful anywhere else like Kerry Hyder should have, then yeah. But if Arden Key's like, I'm cashing in, forget that, and some team gives him a nice little deal, I don't know if the Niners actually can match it. So I don't know.
He's tough.
I'm gonna say he's gone. I'm gonna say he's gone. Yeah.
Okay. Here's my thought process. I think he knows. I think he's very aware of the situation. I think that he knows that salary cap's going up huge next offseason. And if he can put together back-to-back years, then he's really going to be able to break the bank. That's my thought. So I think he'll pass up the money and he'll stay because he knows the situation's good. But we'll see.
Players is that it's dangerous doing something like that.
It is.
They do bet on themselves and stuff, but you're one knee injury away from really regretting that decision. So I don't know. We'll see.
Very good point. Very good point. And the last one is one that was brought up earlier. DJ Jones, man, hell of a player. Showed really well in 2019. He's been good the whole time he's been here. Yeah. He's the immovable object. He's a force up the middle. And we don't know what the hell Kinlaw is going to bring. I think DJ is going to get paid, man. I really do. And he's, unlike Arden Key, he has been here for multiple years and he has been producing. And he's also had some injury history. I think he's going to walk. I would love to bring back DJ Jones, but I don't think he's back on this team personally.
DJ Jones, I thought that last year too, and he only got 1 year's $3.4 million. I mean, he was cheap. The Niners brought him back. I think he'll be cheaper than Arden Key. Arden Key's a pass rusher. As good as DJ Jones is, he's a starter. He's not a pass rusher. He's a great player. He's not a great player. He's an excellent player. But he's a two-down run stuffer, and those guys don't get paid as much as pass rushers. So if one guy's going to get the $3 or $30 million deal that Hyder got, it's going to be Key. And I think that actually maybe DJ Jones – it seems like he wants to leave and get that payday, but I don't know. You're a nose tackle, man. I don't know. So I actually think if I had to guess who has a better chance of getting re-signed by the Niners, Jones or Key, I'm going to say Jones.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's totally fair.
But what I want to say is they may not even feel like they want him. I mean, Kinlaw can do his job. That being said, Kinlaw has one good knee, and maybe why not want to rely on Javon Kinlaw to play football for you consistently. So I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a good point.
They should probably bring back DJ Jones. I should think.
Yeah, if they can, I would love to bring back DJ Jones. I just don't know if they'll be able to afford him. We'll see. We'll see what the market's like.